This is about surviving cancer, and what I would like to start off by saying is that while I am a breast cancer survivor, I don't think you should look at cancer morbidly. I can do more, and that there are no limits in this world. And if we are able to teach that to other women around us, I think that's going to change society in so many ways. As far as cancer specifically goes, it's not easy, but the fight that you go through and you come out of successfully, it really changes you. And it changes you, I think, for the better. And I think, I'm going to speak to my fellow guests here so that we can learn more about this. And I'll start off with Neerja, who's very well known in Chennai. She's a social activist. She rallies for breast cancer, against breast cancer prevention, hackathon meetings, and she's also part of set up a cancer support group. So Neerja, tell us in brief, about your cancer experience and what, in terms of this journey and what it's taught you.
The words that stood out, tell us in brief. And the trouble is that I can never be brief. So I am going to tell you, excuse me while I... Bad timing.
That's okay.
So here I am. First of all, thank you, Harbin, and all of you. It's a pleasure to be here. And Harbin, I really need to blame all of you if I'm stuck for words, because my head is just absolutely overflowing with all the previous months. So to start off, first and foremost, I prefer to call myself a conqueror, not a survivor, because I think we've gone over it, we've conquered it, and we are at a space where you're right, we've learned a lot. And to cut a very long story short, God has a method in his madness. So he said, here's this chubby little girl, and she's very friendly, and she talks to everyone, and everyone feels that she's got wide enough shoulders to confide in. And let's make her go through life to experience a lot, which she can use to help others. So broken bones, falls left and right, many miscarriages, a stillborn in the 8th month, premature twins 2 months and 5 days, cancer twice, uterus removal, surgeries here, surgeries there, and recently I've just come out of septicemia, 6 months of blah blah. So he said, okay, go through this. Anyone who comes to you, they will identify with you. And you have an ace up your sleeve, because you will turn around and say, I understand. So if someone goes and says, hey, to a cancer patient, come on, be positive. The patient will draw back and say, do you understand what I'm going through? And that's where I step in. I say, yes, I do. I've been there. I've done that. Surgeries, chemotherapies, radiations, all of it and more. And not only do I understand what you are going through, but I understand what your family is going through. So God said, okay, do your graduation in social work, do your B.Ed, work in a school as a social worker, casework, group work, community work, work in a school as a 4th standard class teacher, have all the skills of listening, gift of the gab thrown in, and parents who said, when I was diagnosed, I ran to my father and I said, Papa, I'm going to fight cancer. And he's an army officer, naval. And he said, Kshatriya, warrior, mentioned in dispatches in the 71 war, and he said, Beta, why are you using the word fight? Why don't you use the word face? Because fighting is aggressive. Fighting is negative. You can face it. Hum honge kamyab. So that is what my father taught me. And my mother said, you know, whatever happens, happens for the best. And I'd look at her and say, hey, I got a broken bone. Hey, I got cancer. Hey, I got this. And you say, it happens for the best. But it does, because in my case, whatever I've gone through, I've learned from those mistakes. And they are lessons that I can uplift and help others. So that is my life full circle. With starting support groups all over, with counseling patients. I have patients from all over the world, and I have gratitude. And thank you, God, for giving me the ability to face it, and thank you, God, for giving me the opportunity to be your instrument to get it done. That's my story.
A wonderful, inspiring story it is. Vidya, tell us, what you went through and how it's changed your life today and what you're doing to help other women and men and children, because so many people are affected by it. And like Neerja was saying, it also affects families. Cancer is not just about the individual, it's also about the family.
Like a lot of things which Neerja said sort of resonate with me. One thing is, I think life is eventful because of a certain reason, and life has been eventful for me in many ways. Maybe not to the extent that she's had. I've also had a lot of health setbacks, handled a lot of crisis, financial crisis, this, that, and the other. But one thing is, none of those actually prepare you to deal with something like cancer. And for me, the timing at which it happened, it was like something out of a movie, because I was changing jobs, and it's like on April 2nd, I had to travel to Bombay to take up this new job. I was serving my notice period here. March 31st was my last day. 25th, I go for what I thought was a routine review. And Dr. Selvi, wonderful person. She was my immediate biopsy, and 30th confirmation, and then there's recommendation for treatment. So it's like, and my husband was also between jobs. So the whole thing came crashing down. We didn't know what to do. So no money, no insurance coverage. But it truly is a life-changing experience. And my daughter was studying abroad at the time. So the first thought was, for me, was, okay, how are we going to cope with it monetarily? How are we going to deal with it? Of course, I can't emphasize enough the kind of support my family gave. I think I'm truly blessed to have a family that pitched in every possible way. And my employer, I had quit my job, but they gave me a consulting assignment. They also gave me insurance coverage. I mean, that's again. So, I mean, I really see the positive side of humanity. So I tell people that, something like cancer, going through it is a mixed blessing. Everything in life is really a mixed blessing, because it really brought me closer to my family. It showed me, there were so many friends, so many people who gave me a tremendous amount of moral support. They were with me right through this journey. And nobody can take away the physical pain and discomfort that you go through, but just the fact that there are people. And then, of course, above all, I have always believed in the power of the Almighty. That He's the one who's been guiding me all through life. So there was my Guru who was there with me all through. So, when your body is broken, and it's a tremendous test of mental strength. You're like up every chemo, you're like half dead. But I think a combination of these things really, one thing it did for me, one important thing is it really showed me in sharp focus what is priority in life. The only priority in life really is to live a full life. So I think I have learned to savor every single moment of life much, much more than I did earlier, so that I don't waste any time brooding or regretting or dealing with anger and guilt. And I also decided there was one thing that I'm a very sensitive person. So all of us, over the years build up so many things about. So forgiving and letting go is not. I consciously said I'm going to let go of every one of those thoughts, and so I think that's the biggest change it has brought for me. And in terms of what it has done on the professional and real on the ground kind of situation, I had been wanting to do more flexible work, and I was in a full-time job. wanted to do consulting, but I kept pushing it because of monetary considerations and other things. Didn't have the courage to take that risk. This just pushed me into that, and I think now I'm able to focus on work that I love doing, that I believe I am best placed to do, like coaching people, facilitation. So I've gone into life coaching as well. So if you ask me how am I actually using this, I feel that these life experiences, and particularly this one, has put me in a place where I can, like she said, say I've been there, done that. So when people are dealing with crisis, I'm not specifically got into cancer support groups. Maybe now that I'm talking to Nirja, I will. But in terms of helping people tide over whatever struggles they're going through, I think that's what my focus is now, and I love what I'm doing.
That's fantastic, and I think we should give all of them a round of applause. And as we were talking about life-changing experiences and taking risks in life, after I went through my cancer experience, and of course many years later, the things I did, I started traveling the world alone because I wanted to go out and have those experiences for myself. I went skydiving, I jumped out of a plane at 13,000 feet, which I would have never done in my life otherwise. And I think it really pushes you, to do more and to live life to the fullest. So, from your experience, how has it changed your life? And, are you a different person today? Because many people change after, an experience like that.
Yes, I think I would say I'm a completely different person today. For me, first I have to thank the Women Economic Forum and ALL for inviting me for this discussion. The topic is very interesting. In the face of adversity, actually we say necessity is the mother of invention, and I would say adversity is the mother of inventing new ideas. In my was a classic example. So my daughter is a conqueror. I changed from Nirja. I don't say anymore survivor. My daughter is a conqueror, and she was diagnosed with a cancer when she was about to write her 10th exam. And she had to go through the treatment. She wrote the exam from home, going through her chemotherapy sessions. Of course, thanks to God. Today, she went on to complete her BTech biotechnology, and now she is going to Germany for doing her MS in molecular medicine. And one of the things that we found, as every parent would do, I did a lot of Googling about cancer, and then did a lot of opinion from doctors. One thing that got struck my mind was immunity, the cleanliness and hygiene related to cancer, in particular for the treatment for chemotherapy and radiotherapy. And when this got into us, we kept our home very clean. The process went on for 10 months. The treatment went on for 10 months, and we made sure that there is absolute cleanliness in that. There is a survey report that talks about
Plenary by the 5th of July. So I made these mistakes, and I thank God that I did, because it tells me to tell patients that please do not do things simultaneously, because chemo is hitting you from within, radiation is hitting you from without. But I told my parents, and this, I said, don't let me miss a single day. Even if I tell you that I am dying, I don't want to go for my radiation. Put me on a chair, put me in the room. Please, treatment is not the be all and end all of life. Your treatment is a short detour, which will get you back on track, perhaps better than before. I tell people, hey, radiation, so many. Spider-Man had radiation, right? I had, just yesterday, someone told me, there is so much of radiation from it. So I turned to her and I shocked her. First, I was speechless, and then I turned to the third person and I said, excuse me, how much is 42 plus 38? She said 80. I said, yes, I've been radiated 80 times. I had 80 radiations. I said, yes, I'm just kidding, but I did have uterine relations, so that's fine. The third point is laughter is the best medicine. And I find that he said that cancer changed, she said that cancer changed you. I think I'm as naughty, as terrible, as I'm not supposed to have wine. I celebrated someone's 70th birthday. I had 2 goblets of wine, and I'm surprised I can still talk. And I'm under very strong antibiotics. But it didn't change me, but it reinforced the faith I had in God. So I learned 10 things. The first is love. The second is fun and laughter. Enjoy. The third is God. And if you believe in God, you have faith. If you have faith, miracles happen. And death is also a treasure because it teaches you acceptance. And then when you have the attitude of gratitude, there is abundance and living in the now. So if you count those, there are 10 treasures, and they're all mentioned in my book, I Inspire, which is my life. So I'm as mad, I'm as indisciplined, I'm as naughty, I'm as terrible. But I enjoy life. I love people. I counsel at odd hours. I pick up the phone when it rings. I'm there for everyone because God is there. My mantras are God, this too shall pass. And this is what I do. I spread the good word and I enjoy it.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Positivity is so important, and I think everybody talks about it when you're going through a health crisis like this, that you have to be positive in the face of adversity. You can't give up. You should be having negative thoughts. Were you? I mean, initially, of course, when you get the diagnosis, you're devastated, and then you get over it. But then through the treatment, you start learning, like she said, it's just a phase. Was it the same for you?
It's not easy by any means. I won't even pretend it is, because when you're physically completely down and body is doing strange things which you aren't used to, the first thing that hits you is fear. So you can't really. And then the second thing that happens is, as it is, chemo also creates a lot of changes in your body, and emotionally also you're down. So there are moments when you completely broken. But by and large, for me, I don't know. I'm a strong person. I really don't know, but my focus was, I mean, not even for a moment was I thinking of not recovering. So the focus was always on recovery. So I was like going through it, maybe sometimes just gritting my teeth, but the focus was that. So I think that's what really kept me going.
I think always the focus is you're going to get healthy, you're going to get better, you're going to get back on your feet, and you're going to live a full life, right? It's yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You're going to get better, you're going to get, no, I'm better, I'm healthy, I'm doing it, I'm on my feet, I'm great.
No, I agree with you on that, because while I was going through my treatment, I used to go out for movies, I used to go out with my friends for dinners. I never stayed home and cried about it or any such thing, because my friends were great. And they made sure that there was no time for sadness. It's like, okay, you have to get through this. It's just a matter of 6 months, and we're going to help you. And I think friends and family are the biggest support ever. And so you were telling me you started, you're working now with government hospitals. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the kind of work you do with them?
As I said, realization was housekeeping. So we are now doing the government Raipata hospital. They have a cancer block, exclusive cancer block, with all the facilities like radiation, chemotherapy, and surgical oncology. And we provide housekeeping as a charity to the whole block. This is about 90,000 square feet, and we employ.
I think that deserves a big round of applause.
Thank you. In fact, we started off very slow with 2 floors initially, because we didn't know what it's going to be. I mean, when we, going back then 5 years before, we started in 2013. When I go back, it was always wondering, the thought came, I walked into Raipata Hospital for a interview, and then I couldn't get those things done. But I found the place was needing a lot of upkeep. That is when the thought came into mind that we should do something to the people, poor people who come there for treatment. And of course, the thought remained a thought for a while. It's not easy to get things happening with the government. But one fine day, I met a person, one of my friends introduced me to the chief of surgical oncology, Dr. Rajaraman. And he said, why not you start tomorrow? I mean, all I was thinking for about 6 months, 8 months, but I got opportunity to start doing this. Then who is going to give the money? I came home, talked to my wife. We said, we will spend it our own money pocket. And we did it for the first 2 years. That is really the breaking point, because I have to prove myself to myself whether I'm going to do this consistently before I prove to the world and asking them for support. And then as things would have it, we got support from the family, brothers, sisters, friends, well-wishers. Today we spend about 2 lakhs of rupees every month. And special is we use organic biodegradable disinfectants from comium, from cow urine, which is very effective. We also, that is coming as a free for us from one of the Goshalas from Mayavaram. Similarly, one other foundation gave us a mission to make our own sodium hypochlorite, which is a liquid bleach. So we use that also for our own purpose. So we do swab analysis of the premises every month, and so far I will proudly say we never had a negative positive growth. We never had a positive growth of any bacteria or anything.
Thank you so much. I think, Neerja, Sir, Vidya, and I don't know whether to put myself here in that category, but I feel that, people on this dais, everybody's an inspiration. And I know, that he's doing such fantastic work. Neerja does fantastic work, and I'm sure she, in her own way, is helping others. And what you need to remember is cancer is conquerable. Please keep that in mind. It's not, something that you can't overcome. And that's the message I think I'd like to send out on their behalf as well. So.
She was talking about positivity, and my blood group is A. Be positive.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful stories of conquering. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to also offer gratitude to the organizers for curating beautiful sessions one after another, especially this one. What a beautiful idea. I'd like to call upon Dr. Harbeen Arora. Lata, would you join Harbeen to give away the awards this afternoon, please? Our first awardee, Tamil Selvi Ramanathan. Neerja Malik. Please accept this Please come together for a group photograph.
I just wanted to convey my special thanks to Rajshri, Lakshmi, and the organizing team for having given me this. It's really a privilege